You got to align on vision and values first. So you just got to get really clear in your mind of what is the vision for the business. 3 years from today, what does it look like? A year from today, what does it look like? Are you trying to exit? Are you trying to build something that doesn't rely on you having to be there? So like get really clear on what the vision is. And I find a lot of owners don't have that. Like it might be clear in their head, but it's not written on paper. And if it's not written on paper, right, it's like tough. And visionaries are very optimistic. And I think even taking that vision and asking somebody else, well, what do you think of this? Is this possible? Right? I think is good. So clear on vision, clear on value alignment. You got to have vision and value alignment. But if they're good on the vision and they're good on the value side, but they don't have the skill set, it just doesn't matter. So, a good integrator or COO is great at managing people, and they're great at making sure stuff gets done, like the right stuff gets done. So you need somebody that loves waking up every day and kind of doing the same thing 10,000 times over and over again, where visionaries like to do one thing or 10,000 different things one time. So you need somebody that's very process driven. They like going and waking up at the same time and going to the office and doing the same thing and reviewing employees and hiring people and managing people. But yeah, I mean, what type of person? It's somebody they got to love being around every day, or at least being in a relationship with, because you're going to talk to this person a lot. Don't just hire somebody because they got the skill set. Hire them because you have some kind of connection where you see yourself enjoying working with them. And then hire somebody that has a proven track record of actually managing before. Because if you hire somebody that hasn't done it, you're kind of gambling to see, can they turn into that person? So have somebody that I believe, depending on the business. Now, if it's $1 million business, maybe you can hire somebody that has potential, but they got to get it pretty quickly. If you got to teach them a lot, like that's tough. People either get it or don't. And just, kind of invest and align with them and figure out what they want. Because if you can help them get what they want, they'll help you get what you want. So hire somebody.
Sorry, Casey, I didn't mean to cut you off. I wondered, do you use any psychometric testing or any assessments that you would use to evaluate a COO?
Oh my gosh, I got them all. I use the 𝙁𝙊𝙐𝙇𝙊𝙒 assessment is one of them. There's an assessment I use that's literally a visionary integrator assessment. That's more kind of the way that I look at it, where it asks certain questions from the visionary and integrator of their strengths and weaknesses. And I try to actually compare each of them, right? Because I mean, it's kind of like you're finding your business spouse. And as a lot of people know, like marriage is tough, right? Most marriages fail. Most business partnerships fail. Most COO, CEO, visionary, they just don't work because they don't do the work up front to figure out, is this the right person, and align on what does success look like and what's my role versus your role going to be in the business.
So 𝙁𝙊𝙐𝙊𝙁 is one that I'm quite familiar with. So it's based on 4 personality attributes: fact finder, desire to seek out information before making a decision, follow through, patterns, desire to create systems, quick start, new ideas and vision stuff, and then implementer, right? I think it's called implementer. Is that the 4th one? Implementer, which is good with your hands, physically able to build models and stuff like that. So of those 4, what and 𝙁𝙊𝙐𝙊𝙁, for folks who are interested, you score everybody. Everybody has a little bit of all 4 attributes in them, but you have sort of tendencies towards one or the other. So you score each other. You get a score from, I think it's 1 to 10 on each attribute, right? So what would you be looking for in a COO, a chief operating officer, 2IC integrator, on those 4 metrics? Fact finder, follows.
Yeah. So that fact finder is your need for information. So I want a COO to need a lot of information before they can take action. And this assessment is all about how you take action and get something going. So a fact finder is they need a lot of information. I don't love
7 plus.
Yeah, 7. I would say 6 plus. If they're a 9 or a 10, that almost scares me because it's like, man, they are going to analysis paralysis. So I like in that 6 plus. If it's a 9 or 10, I like it, but I also have some questions. And then looking at follow through, that's systems. Their need for systems and structure and organization, it's got to be a 6 plus. Because I want somebody that if they're working with a visionary and says, hey, let's go do this, they're like, hang on, let me slow down and ask some questions to clarify, should we do it? What's the best way to do it? And then let's put a system in place to make sure if we do this, we do it the right way, in the right order. And those 2 things are the most important. For any integrator.
Quick start?
Quick start. A lot of quick starts, like mine's a 2. Now I'm kind of visionary, so I'm kind of weird. I'm willing to go and take risk, but I have to have all the information. So you have to have a COO or integrator that's willing to go, that's not just stuck and scared. But I like a quick start to be a 2+. If they're like a 1 or even a 2, you just got to make sure they're willing to work in an entrepreneurial business. You know, most of your listeners, like that's entrepreneurial type companies, they're not big corporate entities where you can hide. Like the integrator or COO has to be able to get stuff done. They can't just be stuck in research and fact find all day. They got to be willing to go. So quick start, it's typically like, you know, a 2+. If they're like a 6, 7, 8, or 9, I'd be wondering, are they even an integrator? Because I don't love COO integrators to have like a 9 or an 8, because that's them wanting to take risk. And if the visionary of the company or you listening to this as an entrepreneur, you're probably high in risk taking. Well, if you partner up with another risk taker, good luck. You guys are going to take some risk. But if you don't have the systems or the processes, it's going to be tough.
And an implementer, do you care?
I don't really look at that one all that much. It's more for like engineers and stuff like that. It's people like working with their hands. I don't use that one as much.
Yeah. And for folks who want to dig deeper into this, one of the other things, in case you did a great job of describing it, but if you're working with someone where there's a huge gap between the numbers, like for example, if you're a 9 quick start and you hire a 1 quick start, although you may think, oh, that's perfect because I'm really big on ideas and the 1 is going to be super conservative. The problem is, you may look at each other like you have 2 heads, like it's like you speak a different language. So it's good to have variance, but not too much variance. So, you know, like a 7 and a 4 would work well together. Like you could appreciate each other's strengths, but still sort of row in the same direction. Whereas like a 9 and a 1, that's going to be like oil and water. Tough to make that work. Thank you for the deep dive on 𝙁𝙊𝙐𝙇𝙊 for folks. I'll put 𝙁𝙊𝙐𝙐 stuff in the show notes too, if anyone wants to dig deeper into that.